Hi, thanks for coming back. I want to talk to you today about something more for guys than for girls. But it's probably important for girls to understand just how this works too, and maybe also see, maybe understand a little bit more about themselves. And not that that's my purpose. It's not. But so this is something called Understand This, and She'll Fall for You. Okay? So let's begin. A lot of guys ask, like, what can I say to a girl to make her fall in love with me? All right. Well, I'm going to share some of those things that you can say to make a woman really fall for you. I'm not going to say she's going to fall into love with you, but she's going to fall. She's going to take a couple trips, and you better be there to catch her, my brother. That's right. So now I'll warn you, a few of these tips may sound a little weird or kind of counterintuitive, but there's a very specific psychology behind every technique that I'm going to share with you today. Okay? So, as I'll explain in a minute, if a guy has feelings for a girl, he's more likely to say the wrong things than he is to say the things that actually cause her to become more attracted to him and to fall in love, for instance. A lot of times when a guy has these feelings for a girl, he's got the urge to compliment her a lot. I mean, like really a lot. Your eyes, your hair, your lips, the way your eyes sparkle, that dimple, for those of you that applies to. So, two things are critically important. First is that you make her feel like she's earned the compliment, okay? Because when you're throwing compliments around to someone, and not necessarily even a woman, but when people kind of think, gee, are they talking about me? It's a little obvious that you might be on the schmooze a little too heavy. Okay, so don't be that guy and don't go there, because those compliments they bounce off you. I mean, like, nickels on a tight tummy, whatever that would look like. I don't know. So anyway, so what I mean is just watch the blurting out of the comments, all right, because that can get you in a little bit more trouble. And beside that, girls are smart, man. They're going to pick up on that right away, and they're just going to think he's blowing smoke, So don't be that guy. And it really starts to annoy a girl when you do that. So stay away from that. So you want to realize, and you want to start looking, and sometimes it's pretty obvious. There's special things about her, very special things. And, with these things, she wins you over day by day. She starts to win you over with some of these things, so when the compliments that really work are the ones that you feel are completely, and that she feels are completely unique to her personality, and not the general stuff. Again, eyes, ears. I mean, like her ears are level. Maybe you got one that had a little dip, where one was like a couple inches lower on the one side. Never mind. Okay, I got to throw something in, right? All right, so, and you realize how many guys have come up to a girl like that and said, honey, your eyes, man, are just like incredible. The sparkles, your cheekbones, your lips. Oh, how many times they hear that? So you fall into the ordinary. You're not extraordinary anymore. Don't be anything but extraordinary, really, because that's where all the wanderlust and all the wonderful things are. Being extraordinary with extraordinary moments, extraordinary adventures. Okay, so get some. you know? And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be admiring things about her that other guys miss. I think what you want to do, and which can be really, really powerful too, is, make a compliment to her that's related to maybe her dream, what she dreams about opening a business, or she dreams about possibly a vacation, a special vacation, or something that she's got the possibilities of achieving, or even if it's her achievements, or she says, wow, I really, really want to go into psychology. I want to be a psychiatrist. Well, tell her about where you can see how well she'd be there, because she's so easy to talk to. And she's just, it's like butter melts in her mouth. And you could see that kind of a person or that kind of a profession would really fit her personality. So those are the kind of things that you want to be saying to a person. All right, lay low on the eyes and the lips and everything. You can get there some other time, So, and a good thing to do is always end it by saying something. Also, you want to break it up. You don't want to get too heavy. I don't think you want to tell her, but the problem is you're a dork, or you're just not, man, I don't know if you could pull it together. And then you're going to laugh. Okay. You're going to, and you got to come in with I'm just kidding. I think you'd be great. You'd be great at that and all these other great things that I see in your personality, But that breaks the tension and brings it back to a more playful level, and stops it from getting too serious, So, you want to help validate some of these things that are important to her, and it also does something very important for you too that it communicates to her, is that you are the selector, and you're not the selected. And so, what do I mean by that? Well, see, most guys settle for anything they can get. When you let a woman know that you're actually sizing her up, and you want to make sure she's special. You want to make sure she's the right one. She's the one for you. She'll be the one trying to impress you. Okay, she'll become addicted to impressing you, and the more she finds herself trying to impress you, the more interested she becomes in you. And the more likely she is to fall in love with you. Okay? So, next, women are what I would like to call, they're like meaning makers, which means a girl is always looking for the deeper meaning behind what you're doing or what you're saying to her. She's like really digging and searching. So don't think they're not or only superficial, because they're definitely not. So like an example is you show up for a date with her and you get a bouquet of roses. Okay. How many of us have done that before and showed up that way? Okay. All right, Sarge, I'll put my hand down. All right. So you got the roses and you got reservations at a super fancy restaurant. I mean, one of the high-end joints. You're signing in as Tony Roma, just because you like to hear your name mentioned when they call you for the table. Just kidding. Okay, so so you're like, wow, this guy's like really super serious about me already. Maybe he's not used to dating a woman like me, which is why you have to be careful, right? You got to be conscious of the meaning she might be making of your actions, or the words that you're saying, without you even realizing it. But what's also so important to understand is that women, the harder the meaning is to decipher, the more invested. Remember that word, man. That's a big one you're going to start hearing in relationships, is investments, okay? You make them in each other, or you make them in your relationship. And hopefully you go according to the same speed together when you're investing. So the harder the meaning is to decipher, the more invested she becomes in figuring you out. So if a woman figures you out too soon, okay? And that is, well, that's going to be that could be a problem. That could definitely be a problem. It's over because women don't want a sure thing or a predictable guy. That is, let's hear it, guys, boring. You don't want to be boring. You just don't, okay? You know, I personally don't like the term normal. Don't think I've ever fit in that term. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're straitjacket material or the truck's out in front waiting with a cone of ice cream for you, you know, calling you by your, your first name with a little Y on the end or an IE on the end. So women, they crave a mental challenge. They do. This is why anything that you do that's ambiguous, anything the girl she just can't quite understand, will lead her to being more and more interested in you because she'll spend more and more time thinking about you. If you can do things that send mixed messages, like telling her you like her and then sort of kind of pushing her away from you, this keeps your mind trying to figure out what's going on here. And that mental challenge for her is extremely addicting. You know, and they won't admit it, but it's true. There's also a hand-holding technique to use to give her mixed signals that may make her curious and excited and turned on all at the same time. I'll explain that technique in a minute. But first, I do want to say, like anything else, if these techniques are used too much, they become worthless. Okay, so this isn't something that you can use every day, all the time. And when you're struggling with a girl, go right into a technique, and that's going to save you, or that's going to resurrect you. No, pal, you're in trouble. Okay, so this is just something to open a door to get you in and get her to start thinking about you a little differently. Because, face it, we all become a little nervous when we're meeting a girl for the first time or we're just on those first couple of dates. And you don't want to send her mixed signals. You want her to stay interested. So try to stay interested or try to stay interesting, I should say. All right. But they should be used sparingly and only at the right moments. Okay. So I discovered there is kind of an order to the thing too, and we could talk about that some other time. And something else that you can use is when you're talking to her, get that eye contact going. I sometimes don't use as much eye contact as I would like to, only because my brain and like other people's brains are accessed through eye movement. So as you roll your eyes up, you access a certain part of your brain that reveals stored information or memories or anything. Or if you're looking down, you're really one who is searching for the audio version of what you're looking for and what you want to say. So if a person's eyes are moving all over the place, it isn't necessarily that they don't find you attractive or interesting. It's just they're accessing different parts of their body and their brain to search for the right information that they think is something that's going to further their mission with you, which is to get you to like them. I mean, that's what we're all here for, is to get someone to like you and hopefully build something that you can go into the future with. It's what it's all about. It's, guys, this isn't to be used for, the one-night stands, the hookups, those little catchy phrase things that is only going to, last a couple of days or a couple of nights. No, it's not for that. This is long-term stuff, okay? So try to hold that eye contact and use her name, and when you talk to her and, just know what it means to create a little bit of an electric spark, right? And, and it builds up tension because it taps into what's going on here. It is something going on here. That's the other thing you got to figure out. Wow. is there anything going on here between us? Because, well, at least in that sense. But there's also something called future projecting. And that's a lot different, and maybe we'll talk about that sometime. But there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So it involves what you don't say. Okay, stop telling her what you think she wants to hear, because many guys will talk a woman out of feeling attraction by trying to think they know what she wants to hear. And, where she's going or what she's waiting for to hear, and they're so wrong. They really screw that up, man. And again, you got to realize it's probably because the guy's nervous, but not always. A lot of them are just dorks. I mean, that just happens too. So if you got a dork, you're not going to change him. If mom and dad didn't change the guy and a couple other previous relationships, let it go. Okay, just let it go. So, but if you start feeling or telling her how you really feel about her too soon, that's bad, because it takes the magic and the suspense, the mystery, out of the game, and you don't want to do that, man. Those are important adjectives, adverbs, verbs. You need some of that stuff, especially suspense and mystery. Oh, baby. Yeah, you need some of that stuff. So the tension and the mental challenge, you take that out of the situation and it pops the balloon. It kills the chemistry. Don't lose that chemistry, man, because really, when you're walking up and you're hitting her head on between the eyes, that's all you got. So you better have some chemistry. And you can always manufacture a little bit more, but yeah, chemistry. You better have some early on, okay? And, you don't want a woman to hear, he's admitting to me that he likes me, which gives me all the power, which for some strange reason makes me not like him. And see, because I don't think girls want all the power. They don't want to make the decisions of where we're going to eat, what are we going to do, what do you want to do next week? Be the man. Okay? Women like that. They like you to take a little bit of control. And I'm not talking about a sick, crazy way. Not that kind of control. Be confident. Show them you can do it. And show them you got the control. You don't want a wuss. They don't want a wuss. And neither do you. So, and I think a lot of women have their biggest fantasy is the day when she finally tells a guy her feelings about him. And that's a sensitive moment too, because when a girl finally gets to that point, because they'll hint around to the point, and they'll drop little hints. But do they ever really hit you between the eyes and tell you word for word their heart? That's rare. And if you got somebody like that, don't rob her of that moment, because that's a special moment of that dream that every woman has that falls in love, going through the same exact process. And when you know the process, you can take her through it, and she'll think it was her idea to fall for you. And maybe, because they're pretty sharp, maybe it was hers and it wasn't yours after all. But the bottom line with that is, who cares? As long as you're locked, okay? You both got the lock on each other, and you're both holding hands and you're walking into eternity. Isn't that the objective anyway? Well, I would hope it would be, so, and that's not ordinary, that's extraordinary. Be extraordinary. So if you ever heard the saying, we love to buy, but we hate to be sold. Okay, this is why everything needs to be under the radar, so she feels like it's her decision to chase you. Because if she senses in any way that you're trying to convince her to like you or to manipulate her to like you, wow, she'll subconsciously put the brakes on and pull back, and a lot of times she won't even know why she's rejecting you. But they seem to have that mechanism built in. So you better be, if you're going to implement some of this stuff too, you better be good at what you do, because you're dealing with some sharp cookies. It's like, no, it's no. So she'll have a bad feeling about things. And, once a woman is convinced, all right, that there's bad feelings about something like that, and, and if you try to backpedal and really tell her why you were doing what you did because you were just a little bit needy and you wanted her and you didn't want to lose her, and, you're going to sound needy. You are. And girls don't like needy guys. They just don't. Okay. And you're going to sound desperate. Bad juju, guys. Bad juju. Don't be that guy. All right. So your job is to help her to come to a conclusion on her own, and make it a good conclusion for her. And that through a mix of giving her the feelings that she's winning you over. And what happens is she probably really is winning you over, because what are you there for in the first place? Oh boy, it's a little convoluted, and it's a complicated thing. This whole search for someone and then getting them and trying to use other methods of getting them to find you interesting. And it'd be so nice if two people could just take the hearts, okay, whatever pieces are left, if you were there with a broken one, put them on the table and kind of point them at each other and see what happens. Watch them, see if they go for each other or they take off like, the Roadrunner and the Coyote. We remember that cartoon, right? So, and you got to realize too, there's truly a biological difference in the way that men and female brains are wired. It just is, and instead of letting it confuse you, which is what happens to 99% of the guys out there, learn to use it to your advantage, okay? So they'll become interested and fall in love with you. As I mentioned earlier, on their own, because these techniques are powerful, but when you do them when you do them in a specific order too, all right, she can help but fall in love with you, even if you're not her type. And even if she's already rejected you or sees you as a friend. Oh, my gosh, the dreaded friend. The girlfriend with a penis. Yes. Never be that guy. Don't be that kind of guy, ever, okay? So it's vitally important that you know exactly how to go from one step to the next step with a woman in a way that always leaves her wanting you more, okay? Leaves her wanting more of you. And that's kind of what it's supposed to be like. And that's what this is all about. You want her to feel like she's winning you over. And when you do this, it's a lot easier to turn her into your girlfriend because it feels like it's her idea. And, as sharp as they are, chances are it probably is her idea. But she's just going along with it because, you're trying so hard to go, to play chess with her. But she's a master, know that, okay? So the objective is make her your girlfriend and let her make you her boyfriend, okay? So you can, well, sometimes you're getting a second chance with someone. Maybe you can change their mind, maybe you can stop her from pulling away or, get yourself out of a friend zone if you are in one. I almost sounded a little sing-songy on that. Something I really don't like to hear. But most guys think of the surface level stuff right anyway, don't they? I mean, it's all surface with guys. Well, I won't text her back right now because that'll give her the impression that maybe I really like her, so I'll wait a little bit longer. Oh, please, man. It's sort of basic and predictable, and it's what every guy does. So it has no effect on her. In the psychology of love and attraction, and a woman's real idea of a romance, you want to get to levels and levels deeper. That's where it's at. That's where it begins. The deep levels and in the brain. Turn the brain on, and the brain subsequently will turn the body on. Anyway, that's where deep attraction forms, at the deeper levels anyway, you know. So yeah, you can get her superficial, and you can have the one-nighters or the two-nighters, but don't go there. Don't be that person. You know, if you're there for a reason, and make it real, and go for the long term, the long haul. And whatever you do, don't go more than 24 hours without doing something totally amazing in your life. And sharpen your poetry. All right, well, if you got anything out of that, that'd be great, and I sure hope so. I know it got me some religion, as we used to say out on the street. That'll get you some religion. So, hope it does something for you. It does for me, and it did for me again. And have a great day.